Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with another video. Today's video is featuring this fun summer shaker. There are a couple of things that make this shaker, this summer cocktail shaker, a little bit more interesting, including that we made it nice and shimmery and we have those ice cubes in there. It was really fun to make. I made it during a live stream a week or so ago. And then this one I made before. So this is kind of how the evolution of the card came about. I made that one with alcohol inks. And you guys were really loved it, but not everybody has alcohol ink. So I thought that it would be fun to kind of create another kind of summer drink to make it more interesting, without having to use the alcohol inks. So here I have the Lisa Horton Crafts. These are the, Cloud9, what are they called? Interference inks. And so these ones are special because they are one color of shimmer on white and one color on black. So you can see that they are different. So I did want to do a little bit of experimenting to see if I could get both in my little summer drink. So here's how we did this experiment in our live stream. I colored 3 different drink areas with blacks fading into whites, and then I used 3 different inks. The first one I use is the one that I ended up going with for the drink, which is the Cherry Bomb Shimmer, I think is the name of that one. And that one is pink when you put it down, and then it has like a purple shimmer. I really like this one. I did find when I was using these inks that, you know, how you would normally load up your brush, swirling it around, didn't pick up all of the metallic. Kind of pressing the brush into the metallic ink pad picked up a lot more of the metallic. So just something to know if you are trying to use these inks and you find that the shimmer isn't necessarily transferring as much as you would like. But here you can see it's beautiful. The shimmer is beautiful. The black is not great, but it does work. And then here, this one, it's lemon something. I linked them all below. But so I put this one on and I just tried to pick colors. I have a lot of these inks, but I tried to pick colors that would make sense for like a summery fun drink. And then the last one I did was the Tropical Paradise Shimmer, which is pink with a like bluish, purplish blue shimmer. Over the black, they look very similar, the first one and the last one, but they are different. The pinks are definitely different. So just something to note there. So after we did our little experiment, it was pretty clear that this would in fact work, but the black was not a great idea. So what I decided to do was just use some darker colors, and you'll see that later on. This Sunburst cover plate from Pretty Pink Posh, I used on the first card and I used on this one. I really love it. I love a central focal point. So this one really speaks to my heart because it does like all of the like pierced holes radiating out from the center. And I typically just cut like an A2 piece and then tape it around the back. And then for my pieces parts, I am doing the summer and the ice cubes on vellum. That's such a little simple thing, but yeah, I think you'll see in the end it makes such a big difference. And then I'm going to do the frame of the cocktail, the straw, the umbrella, and then the little fruit garnish. I ended up making mine a lemon, but you could make yours whatever color works for you. And then once we get the frame part, because it is a shaker die, so it has an inside and an outside, then we'll have to go back in and cut the base out, because we need both of those pieces. Now, if you don't have foam, the frame piece of it, you will need multiples of to stack them up. But if you have the foam that you can die cut, it's so much easier, guys. If you like shaker cards, could not recommend it enough. Then here, I need to cut the acetate out to be the lid on top of my shaker. And sometimes acetate is tricky, so I am putting that over my white cardstock. They'll cut out both my base and my window lid at the same time. Sometimes with acetate, it can be a little bit tricky. So I do kind of run it through multiple times. And then I also like to kind of like take it out and check it. And then if it's not gone through, then I will do it again. For my sentiment, I am cutting the summer out of a pretty kind of like, what is it called? Tide Blue, I think is what it's called, from Altenew. And then we're going to get into the coloring. So I realize coloring's not for everybody. You could absolutely do this with ink blending. The shimmery cocktail and like the way to make it look like a fun summer cocktail with all the little pieces, parts inside, that's kind of the main goal of what we're doing here. So you can color the die cuts any way you would like. I am choosing to color them with my Copic markers. So for the outside glass, I'm adding just a little bit of the darker blues, especially that part in the center there, because it's like more compressed glass. It would be a more concentrated color. And then down toward the bottom, it would be a bit darker. And then because this is, what do they call them? Like a hurricane style glass. I did add a little bit of darkness where the glass kind of sucks in to accentuate that. And then I'm going to work in toward the center with my lighter blues. Just so that it gives it kind of like a little frosty kind of appearance. I like to color my glasses like that, like this. You don't have to add any shading to them if you don't want to, or you could do like a lighter gray to, give the impression of like a white-ish kind of glass. Here for my straw, just to give it a little bit of character, because we don't really have, like, just the shaker is our focal point. So we want to have all our detail there. I'm giving it a little bit of a blue stripe. And that's just adding it at a diagonal. Like I'm adding the ink stripes as a diagonal, but you do want to make sure that you're keeping it at the same diagonal so that it makes sense. And then in order to give the actual straw itself just a smidge of shading, I'm going to take a C3 down one side of it, which is going to give it a little bit of a shadow, and that's going to help make our straw look a little bit more 3D. From the glass and the straw, we are going to just go around the edge of of the base, and that's just to make sure no white is peeking through. We want it to look like it is blue. And then we're going to do the garnish. Like I said, I chose to do mine as a lemon. You could do it a lime, an orange, like you could do a strawberry lime drink. That would be really fun. But I was thinking that a lemon would be fun with the color scheme that we had going on. So I used my darker colors around the rind, and then I did bring in the mid-tone to the base of the inside of the lemon. And then I just kind of flicked just a little bit up into the sections. I took my lighter mid-tone and filled in the rest of that rind. And then I used that to fill in the bottom section of the lemon. And then the lightest color will be a Y02. You could even take this out to like a Y00. You don't have to do it as dark as I did. And then for the umbrella, I decided to go with an orange. In the beginning, I don't know if you remember, I showed the shaker bits, which are called, I think it's called Beach Party. And the shaker bits in there are blue and orange and pink and yellow. And so that's where I pulled my color scheme from. Plus, these colors are very summer, super fun. This kind of card would be great for any summer birthday, for a 21st birthday, for any, like if you're celebrating like something and you're celebrating with getting drinks, or if you have a themed party, this would be fun for this. For the umbrellas, I am just doing just two colors of brown. This is just going to be like the little toothpick thing that the umbrella sits on. And then we will start coloring the center. Oh, here I am trimming my lemon, not all the way through, just through the middle part, so that I can sit it on top of my cup, so that it looks a little bit more realistic. Then, remember I told you that after we did our experiment, I realized that I needed to color my drink on the darker to lighter, but with the colors that I actually wanted and not black. So I chose the Cherry Bomb Shimmer, and that is the pink with kind of the purpley shimmer. And so I'm doing my drink almost kind of like a sangria color. I love these pinks. I think they're super pretty. I use them a lot for summer. They can be a little bit challenging to blend. So you do want to make sure that you're going over the darker part with your next color, just to help them blend. I'm not taking it all the way out to the edge because I want that edge to remain blue, but I am coloring that middle inside section. So, um, I recently shared I recently shared that I had a set that came out with Honeybee, and that I had a video, and I do have a video, but currently the dies and the stencils are sold out, and I try not to share stuff that you guys can't get, so I'm kind of sitting on that video at the moment. But I do have that. I'm thrilled with it. I think it came out so great. It's a fun floral. And then here, I'm gluing everything together here, all of like the little pieces parts. And then this is one of those situations that's like I learned as I did. Obviously, we're live. You can see me down there in the bottom corner. I was live at the time. So I am gluing everything together. But I shouldn't be. I should be waiting, because what ended up happening was I went to put my acetate on the back, and then none of my bits were in the card. They were sitting on top of the acetate. So you want to attach your acetate lid first and then put in all of your pieces parts, in order for everything to sit behind the quote unquote glass. But the way that I arranged them was using that kind of rule of thirds. My tallest point is my straw, and then my medium is my umbrella. You can see I'm moving it down here because it was a little too tall, and then my short is my lemon. And then in order to make these look like they're in the drink, where anything that's below that glass line, I'm just going to take a lighter pink. This is an R02, and I'm going to go right over top of those images. And then when we put it on top of the drink, it's going to look like they are seated inside of the liquid instead of sitting on top of the liquid. And whether you're making a shaker or not, you can use that trick for any of your drink things to make them look like they're inside. Here, I am cutting through the foam. I previously forgot to do that. With the frame, you can cut the outside piece and the inside piece at the same time with regular cardstock, because foam pieces can be a little bit more challenging. Like here, I checked it. I ran it through once, twice, checked it. It wasn't cut all the way through. So then I ran it through again, and then that finally did cut all the way through it. But since these are more like intricate dies when it comes to like the frame that it creates, I did the outside piece first, and then I went back in with the inside piece to make sure that I was going to get enough pressure on the die to be able to cut all the way through, instead of cutting them out together and having to kind of fight back and forth between where the pressure was hitting on the die. So I'm just going to put that back in place, tape it, and then I'm going to run it through this way. I am running it through horizontal versus vertical because I don't want to stretch out that foam. I want that foam to retain that shape to the best of my ability. I did have a little bit of stretching even though I did it horizontal, but I just trimmed off the foam tape that was sticking out at the top with my little Spellbinders detail scissors. And then, but this will give us enough height to create our shaker card without having to go through and like painstakingly cut out each individual foam or each individual frame layer, or have to go in and try to figure out how to get foam butted up next to each other throughout the entirety of the shape. I masked off the top and the bottom before I added my little shimmer, and then I'm going to go in right over top here. This does change the color just a little bit, but I don't care at all because it adds that beautiful, beautiful shimmer. So I'm going right over top of that. And then you'll be able to see once I remove the masks. And you can layer this and kind of build this up till you're happy with how it's looking. I wanted all the shimmers because that's just me. I think it's so fun. I think it's a fun way to make your little drink extra, just like the alcohol inks do, but in a different kind of way. So you can see all the beautiful shimmer here. I love it. Super fun. And then we'll be able to build it up. So I'm going to peel off the adhesive off the back of my foam piece. I'm going to line this up, and this is what's going to hold in the guts of our shaker. So I put those down, and I did have to fiddle with it a little bit to get it lined up. Once I did get it lined up, you do want to also wait until your ink is dry. You don't want to be trying to adhere adhesive to wet ink. That's not going to work that well. So here, I can't stop looking at the shimmer. Like you see me like shaking it all, all about before we even get our shaker stuff in there. And then I can go ahead, and this is where I am putting on the dry adhesive to to attach my acetate, and this is also when I realized that I have made my boo-boo, because all of my stuff is sitting on top of the acetate. So as far as summer goes, we have been really like swimming a lot. We've been hanging out. We're getting ready to take the kids. It's not a staycation totally. We are going somewhere. We're going to take the kids to a water park. We're going to stay, like we're going to go stay for a few days with Eric's parents to take them. And then we have some game plans for just like some stuff that we don't normally get to do. Like maybe go to the aquarium or the zoo or things like that. We don't normally get to do because the kids are in school or in daycare. Here's that that I showed you in the beginning. So this is my little shaker beads, and I'm going to put those in. I have a tendency to overfill mine, so I did start off light-handed, and then here's where these fancy ice cubes come in. Now, I know they're just vellum squares, but once you put them in the drink, they really add a lot to the look of the drink because they are transparent and you can see through them. I did end up going back in and adding in a few more beads, and then once I'm happy with what's inside, I am going to remove that adhesive, the cover strip on the adhesive for the foam on top, and then I can line this up, and then our shaker is completely encased. None of our little bits are going to get out, and everything is on the inside. So our little lemon, the bottom of our straw, our umbrella, everything's on the inside, and it's super cute. And of course we have to shake it for quite some time so that we can see all the things moving about. Now, that's pretty much where the live stream ended because I wasn't 100% sure about how I wanted to finish off the card. So I did trim down my little sunburst cover plate pattern so that I could have that blue, that tide blue around the edge. And then, but it felt like it needed something else. And so I used these Shore borders, and I cut it out of, is it Breeze? It's like the lightest blue from Spellbinders. I think it is Breeze. But anyway, so I cut that out, and then I am going to do it says Fun in the Sun, so it'll say Summer Fun in the Sun. And I stamp that down with some white pigment ink, and I'm going to heat emboss it with some white detail embossing powder. I'm going to cut this out with the banner, but I'm not actually going to use the full banner. I'm just going to use the middle part. This particular card doesn't have room for the full banner. I did use that on my first card, which I didn't say, but I will link at the end. So I was just going to tuck this one kind of like, almost like a little flag. The summer portion, I am still going to put on that vellum, but I am aware that the shaker part is up much higher than the sentiment, so it's kind of going to be like bowed over our drink. I am going to go ahead and adhere my little water border at the bottom, and then I'm going to trim off the extra so that it still has a nice clean frame, but it has a little extra interest. And then we're just going to start adding all of the elements. So anyway, so we do have some fun things planned for summer still. My friend Angie, I think I shared with you guys, her fundraiser is coming up. If you don't remember, that's my girlfriend who has stage 4 colon cancer, and we are raising money for her. Her GoFundMe has done amazing. And then we have tickets to the actual like fundraiser dinner. And so we will be doing that. I have to get her decorations, and then get everybody's baskets together and all of that. It's been a long time since I've hosted a fundraiser, but I am hopeful that we will be successful by the grace of God, y'all. So that's pretty much what our July is looking like. I do have some fun things for work that I am, still currently kind of playing around with. Nothing I'm ready to commit to like with an announcement yet, but some fun things around here. Here I went ahead and, like I said, adhered that summer. The M is kind of just like up over the bottom of it. And then that Fun in the Sun, I just kind of tucked behind For the actual shimmery bits, I was like considering the sea glass, but they're like our focal point is pink, but that's really the only pink that we have in it. So I actually decided to go with watermelon. And I think that's really, really fun. So I put my little glue down, and then I was able to go in and pick up my gems and kind of use them to accent my sentiment, especially like on the left hand side, because I have that stronger sentiment on the right. It's going to help create some balance for me on the right hand side. And then I am also going to put some just up at the top. I did go in and add some white gel pen accents to the umbrella, the straw, the lemon. And then I also used them to do like the sides of the cup. You could do Stardust stickles. Oh, I forgot I did the letters. And I think this looks so cool. Like when you do the little accents on the letters, it makes it look 3D and you didn't even really do anything. I went with glossy accents kind of around the edge of the drink. And then also the like fruit part of the lemon. I added some accents onto the acetate as well. But you could do like Stardust stickles or glitter. That would be great as also, but I like the glossy accents. So that's it. That's the whole card. I hope this inspires you to make some fun summer drinks. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I always appreciate your time, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.